Welcome to The Point of View. This is your favorite current affairs show here on Channel 1 Television. On The Point of View, we pick the right topics, we get the right guests, and we ask them relevant questions on issues that matter to you. We're live tonight with a very big guest. He was the communications officer of the NDC. He's now the acting CEO of the GoldBod. Lawyer Sammy Gyamfi is our guest, discussing everything from the mandate of the board, the fight against Galamsey, the latest controversies around the CJ, and his own political trajectory. How well is Muhammad doing? It's almost 120 days. All of that and more. Send us your comments and your questions when we come back.
Do you want a healthy smile?
Pregnant and experiencing oral health changes? Hi, I'm Tanya from Bethel Dental Clinic, Ghana. Pregnancy is a beautiful journey, but it can bring about hormonal shifts that affect your oral health. During pregnancy, maintaining good dental health is important, not just for the mother, but also for the baby's well-being. Try to maintain good oral health routines. That includes brushing twice daily with fluoride toothpaste, floss daily, and use mouthwash if recommended. Please remember that it is safe for pregnant women to visit the dentist for routine checkups, cleanings, and emergency treatments. Bethel Dental Clinic, your partner in prenatal dental health for a healthy pregnancy and a healthy baby.
Healthy smile.
Excellent. Be that business owner that stands out and is very productive.
You're so confident. How do you do it?
It starts with Built. Where does your confidence come from? Paperwork made simple. Built takes all the hassle away. Yeah, don't be like her. Built is your all-in-one simplified finance platform. It's your home for invoices, payments, your payroll, and so much more.
Oh, wow.
Grow your business today. Sign up now at built.africa. Download the Built app now.
Here's Kwame and Yao. After hours of planning, both have locked in the same perfect multi-bet. Big win for United, over 1.5. And both teams to score in the London Derby. But who could have picked Leicester over City? Or a high-scoring game at the Bridge? There's nothing worse than having your perfect multi-bet missing. But there's nothing better than having it saved. Bet saver, win, even if your bet misses.
Welcome back. So tonight we're live with lawyer Sammy Gyamfi. The last time we interviewed him, he was the National Communication Officer of the NDC. We believe he's still occupying that role, but now he's the acting CEO of the GoldBod. Started as PMMC, and a lot has happened. Sammy, welcome to the show. Good evening.
Good evening, Bernard.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Did you know you were winning the election by that margin?
No.
Even you were shocked?
Yeah.
Wow.
For sure, I knew we were going to win resoundingly, but I never imagined that we're going to win by that huge margin, over 1.6 million votes. And that tells me, and should tell any objective mind, that that victory was not the doing of man, but the doing of the finger of the Lord. And so we give thanks and praises to God.
But it also raises expectations because you have a two-thirds majority. President Mahama has this is his final term. He can do anything, so people can expect everything. Has that dawned on you yet?
Oh yes, it has, and it dawned on me even before we won, because anytime I had a privilege of speaking to our then presidential candidate, now President of the Republic, he always says, Sammy, this is not a real work. The real work will begin after 7th of January. And after we won, when I had the opportunity to visit him, he told me the same thing. He said, Sammy, this is now time for the real work to begin. So at all times, he was very much aware of the mess we're going to inherit and the enormity of the pressure that was going to be on his shoulders, and the high expectations that the vast majority of our people were going to have of him. And so he was not oblivious of that at all. I believe that he has so far demonstrated that he's up to the task, however daunting that task is. And we are beginning to see significant signs of recovery. And I'm so proud of what we've been able to achieve so far under his leadership.
What was the thinking process behind you accepting a job beyond what you do for the party? Because some would say you are rising in your political career, National Communication Officer, you are retained. Clearly, the party likes you. You are young. Why didn't you build your your role in NDC? Why did you take such a serious job so early?
Well, you know that for me, as a person, my principle is that there cannot be any greater honor than an opportunity to serve your country. And so, yes, I'm a politician. I've been very active in politics throughout my adult life, serving my political party, the National Democratic Congress. But that is only a means to an end. The end is to serve one's country and to impact society positively with the investments that we've made in ourselves by the grace of God. And so it was the greatest privilege of my life when His Excellency, the President, told me personally that, Sammy, I think that I would want you to serve in my government in this capacity. It was the greatest privilege of my life, and I had to say, yes, sir, because apart from the fact that he's the president and the leader of our party, therefore the coach of the team called the National Democratic Congress, who knows where one can better serve his team, the team he leads. He's also like a father figure to me, and I cannot, and I could not have imagined myself saying no to His Excellency.
Did you know that you were going to be sent to PMMC and that it will become GoldBod? Okay, let me change the question. At what point did you know that this was what you were going to do?
Well, I knew that from the very day the president told me that he would want me to serve as the acting managing director of PMMC, because it was part of the instructions he gave. Okay. That you are not going there to remain MD of PMMC. You are to see to the transformation of PMMC into the Ghana GoldBod, which will be an institution with enhanced powers, functions, and mandates to play a very key role in its agenda for this country. And for me, like I said, it was the greatest privilege of my life, and I had to say yes. And I'm happy I said yes, because it's been a great learning experience.
Do you have any experience in mining? Because we are lawyer and we are a politician.
I'm not a miner. I've never mined, but I believe that I am a constant learner. And throughout my life, I have had that kind of posturing, always learning.
But did you do a stint with a mining company?
Oh, yes.
At some point in
your... Of course. I'm not a miner. I've not mined, but I've worked with a mining company.
You worked in a mining company?
In a communications role. But that helped me, understand the rudiments of mining and that whole industry and what goes into it. And I'm speaking about the role I played as communications director for Eston Cubic. But even before that, my minister, Dr. Tufosen, likes telling me that your first degree defines you. My first degree at KNUST was in environmental science.
Is it?
Yes, in environmental science.
Before the LLB?
Now, before, yes, I did the LLB.
Okay, so environmental science at
did
Tech.
My BL and did my master's. Yes,
so
I started off, when I entered uni, the first program I read was BSc Environmental Science at the Faculty of Biological Sciences at KNUST.
Oh, really?
And so...
Are you a disappointed doctor?
No.
A lot of people go to those sciences because they want to become...
Maybe a disappointed environmental scientist. It was not something I had a passion for, but I studied it anyways. And after the first degree, I took a detour into an area that I have a passion for, which is the law.
So now you have to go back to environmental science notes.
Yes, exactly. But my experience at Eastern Cubic and my attitude of constantly learning and seeking knowledge from industry experts and those ahead of me has been of great help to me. And I believe that so far so good. Yeah.
Okay. I've heard a lot of people say different things about appointments. I think Chairman Sabonsu said something to the extent that even though the GoldBod was a great thing, he was not sure, I'm not quoting him, he was not sure if the person or the people running it were that experienced. Something to that effect.
Well, we are, so far, I can say that I'm the only maybe the only new employee of the GoldBod, if I can put it that way.
Okay.
Because we are in the process of recruiting additional staff to augment the staff of the PMMC, which we have taken over. You understand?
Are they all with you or some of them have gone?
All permanent workers of the PMMC are still workers of the PMMC. Okay. We've had to painfully lay some workers, off, but those were contract workers and also PMMC workers in our outstations. And they were laid off purely on grounds of redundancy because these outstations were established sometime in 2022 on the back of government's Good for Oil program. And the intention was that these outstations were going to be used for the procurement of gold for the Bank of Ghana. Yeah. But later on, the organization, my predecessors, decided that it was not proper for the PMMC itself to engage in the business of buying and aggregating gold, and that using private players as suppliers was a better option. And so once they chose that option, it rendered those outstations redundant. And an audit that we commissioned, came up with a finding that after 2 years, we had rigged in revenue of just 62,000 cedis and had spent over 9.3 million cedis on the outstation. So it didn't make sense maintaining them when they were not buying gold. They were just sitting down there facilitating license applications, which bring in very little for the company. So we had to do that. But we did that in line with the Labor Act and in consultation with the Ghana Mine Workers Union. And we made sure that we paid them all their entitlements, including severance package and all that. And that is why you didn't hear any noise. But aside that, all permanent workers of the PMMC at the main office of the PMMC, numbering over 93, are still there and are automatic staff of the GoldBod. But that structure and that staff strength cannot run the GoldBod. And that is why you've seen us advertise. We are not like those who go about recruitments into the public service in secrecy. President Mahama believes in giving equal opportunity to all Ghanaians, irrespective of their political affiliations or backgrounds. And so we are doing it in a very transparent manner with the help of KPMG. And we're establishing new departments, new directorates, bringing in the needed expertise. So when I listen to the likes of my senior brother, Honorable Oseche Mensah-Bonsu, I was like, he was jumping the gun. He should wait and see the team that His Excellency the President is assembling to run the GoldBod, because it is going to be a very solid team.
But does that put pressure on you? Because there's a view that there are people who enter politics young, and then when their party comes to power, they are given a big, important position. So yes, National Communication Officer, you work with a lot of people. So in a way, you are overseeing many communicators. But it's not the same as running an organization. Yeah. So how do you convince us that you are able to do it?
Well, I like my results to do the speaking instead of doing the speaking myself. It's early days yet. Okay. We've barely been in office for a few months. Despite that, we've made significant strides. What we've been able to do at GoldBod, I believe, is unprecedented. Yes, Bernard, in this short period of time.
You like that word a lot.
Oh, yes. Right. It's been very significant, and I don't want to be blowing my own trumpet. Everything is there. You can speak to the stakeholders in the field, the likes of Steve Mantia, civil society organizations. Talk to them, and they will tell you what has so far been chalked. But for me, until the overarching objective for the setting up of the GoldBod is achieved, which is exchange rate stability and gold reserve accumulation by the central bank, we have achieved nothing. And so at the end of the day, that is what I want to be measured by. And that is what the president will measure me by. So far, I believe we're on track. We're still learning by the day. With the cooperation we've had from stakeholders and industry players has been very helpful.
Yeah.
And I have no doubts in my mind that very soon you'll begin to see the results. And when the results starts coming, we will know whether or not we're fit for the job or not.
To be fair, we need to say that the speed between the time you were appointed, the passage of the law, end of March, president assenting to it, is pretty quick. Yeah. Because the president has been in office for 106 days. Yeah. And I think it's two things. You've been in the news a lot. The suspicion is that because you were a communication officer, you already have a communication machine. So in my news feeds, GoldBod comes up almost every day. That's one. But we need to admit that there's been a lot that has happened in a very short time. Yeah. But are you using your communication network to do PR for GoldBod, for which reason every week, almost every day? I mean, if you Google GoldBod on any website, there are almost 50 stories.
Well, I think that is a plus I bring to the office. Having played various communications roles all my life, you can expect that I will bring that experience to bear on any assignment I'm given, whether in the private sector or in the public sector. So I will not discount that. But what we have achieved so far has been achieved under the leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the direction of my sector minister, Honorable Case Latofos, and working hand in hand with his brother, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Amakofi Boa. And we've done this together with all stakeholders. So this is not a one-man show. And what we have achieved so far goes beyond the passage and assent of the bill. We are actually setting up an institution which I believe is going to be a world-class gold trading organization in the country. And so far, the structures are in place. When you go on our websites today, you will see policies that have been developed. You will see licensing requirements. You will see terms and conditions. You will see responsible sourcing policy, our corporate social responsibility policy, our pricing policy. We have developed all these policies in consultation with stakeholders in a short period of time. And in the next 30 days, I believe we'll be ready to commence business. And when we do, you'll begin to see the results. What results am I talking about? You'll begin to see the GoldBod reset and restructure, streamline the gold trading sector, combating aggressively gold smuggling and reducing revenue losses and forest losses to the state. You're going to see the state mop up all the gold that is produced by licensed small-scale miners, export same, and bring back the forex in a matter of 3 days, T+3. We have the forex hitting our accounts. And you will see that shoring up the forex reserves, the foreign reserves of the country. You will see that strengthening the Ghana cedi. Every Ghanaian will feel the positive effects.
Since you are here, explain
of this.
What problem does the GoldBod solve?
Okay, the problem is simple. You have a very fragmented, unstructured gold trading sector as a country. Okay. All Ghana gets from gold is mineral royalties, which is paid by large-scale mining companies. Small-scale mining companies don't pay royalties. Until recently, they were paying a withholding tax, which we have also scrapped. Okay. So all we get are royalties.
From large-scale companies?
Large-scale companies. The
corporate taxes, profit taxes.
Yes, and licensed small-scale mining companies who are structured, pay these corporate taxes to the state. That's all. Taxes and royalties. And the state is expected to get the forex, a percentage of the forex associated with the gold we export. 80% has to be repatriated back. The problem is that that forex doesn't get repatriated back. Only few comply with that requirement. Another problem is that the sector was run by private individuals, Ghanaians and foreigners. And because the foreigners had a bigger muscle, a stronger muscle in terms of funding, they had dominated the market. And most of them, not all, most of them were doing the business illegally. They buy the gold, export only a small quantity through the legal means, but a chunk of it gets smuggled out. And when they smuggle the gold, we lose the revenue. It means they will not pay any taxes to the state.
Okay.
And the dollars that has to come back for us to, be able to strengthen the city doesn't come back. It gets lost.
Okay.
You understand? So you are losing revenue and then you are losing the forex. Another problem is that the country did not have any agency that was consciously or that has been consciously promoting value addition.
Okay.
And so from the days when Ghana was called Gold Coast till today, Ghana still exports what we call Dory, unrefined gold. We are not able to even refine the gold. There are about 5 refineries in Ghana as I speak. None of them is even refining a gram of gold today because there is no deliberate government policy to support them. And so that refining charge, which should have remained in Ghana, ends up in Dubai or India.
Unlike
so
what Botswana does, where they cut their diamonds, they add value domestically. We just export the raw gold.
Exactly.
Okay.
Dubai doesn't mine gold. They don't have any gold, but they have a gold souk. We don't have a gold souk. You get my point. Even the jewelry company of the States, owned by PMMC, is suffering. They can't even get 5 kg of gold to produce jewelry because there's always been a certain gap in there. Apart from value addition, is also the issue of the reputation of our gold. Small-scale mining gives us about 40% of the gold we export. In 2024, small-scale mining alone gave us about 66 tons of gold. Okay, and that was some $4.6 billion of forex. Now, that gold cannot be sold in Switzerland. It cannot be sold to any LBMA refinery. That gold, the greater part of it. Now we are having a few small-scale mining companies who have formalized, and are doing responsible mining, are producing even green gold. And so LBMA accepts their gold. A few like Asanska, Typhoon, a few licenses.
So there was no standard.
But a chunk of them.
So a lot of the international buyers would not even
the chunk of the gold, 99.9% of that gold,
small-scale gold,
cannot be sold to LBMA refineries. Okay. And that means that it cannot form part of our reserves. So you see countries who don't even have gold having a huge gold reserves. Why? Because they have refineries, right? But Ghana,
with all our gold,
we don't have.
Until the gold for oil started
doing
the check.
And even now, what we have is nothing to write home about. I believe we, as a country,
but to be fair, under gold for oil, the gold reserves improved.
37 tons. But I'm saying that we could have done far, far better if we improve the reputation of our gold through responsible sourcing and traceability. Okay, then that gold will be accepted by LBMA refineries. And that gold can be part of our gold reserves and strengthen the currency and the economy. Okay. So 3 problems: lack of value addition, lack of traceability and responsible sourcing in the small-scale mining sector, okay, which then limits the Bank of Ghana's capacity to accumulate gold reserves from the small-scale mining sector. And above all, the fragmented nature of the gold trading sector. Where you have multiple state agencies buying gold. MIF is buying gold with gold royalties. Bank of Ghana is buying gold. PMMC is buying gold. Everyone is buying gold, competing with, private Ghanaians, competing with foreigners. And then nobody's regulating them. And foreigners, mostly Indians and Chinese, smuggling the gold, making the state lose forex and revenue that we need for development. So President Mahama says, no, I promise a reset, and I'm going to reset the gold trading sector by now establishing a central agency to be known as the GoldBod.
Okay.
All state agencies back out. Let's just have this one agency licensing all the players in the gold trading sector. And this agency will be capitalized.
And by players, you mean?
The buyers. Those who can buy gold, those who can aggregate gold, those who can smelt gold, those who can transport gold, those who can store gold.
So not those who mine gold. That's Minerals Commission.
The mining of gold is still under the Minerals Commission, the Ministry of
Lands.
So
once the gold is mined, everything else they do to
traded.
The trading of gold.
Exactly. Because if we want to optimize value for money and national benefits, it must be across the value chain. It cannot just be from taxes and royalties from mining. but the trading is also very profitable. And if the state can restructure, reset it the way President Mahama is doing, where one agency licenses all players and therefore regulates them, and the state through that agency exports all the gold from small scale.
There's a better record. So that
exactly.
you know
because
how much
if
you
we
sold.
are exporting,
Yeah.
now when the private man is exporting, the law gives him 30 days to bring back 80% of the forex, and they don't comply. Now we are government. If we export that same day, we are paid 90% of the value. In a matter of 48 hours, we get the remaining 10%.
Okay.
The forex is here. It be in fan chain. So the collar woman who needs dollars, or that SME that needs dollars, or forex to import goods into the country, can get that forex from their banks. The BDCs will get the forex from their banks.
Okay.
You understand? And so that is the whole idea. And if we can solve that forex problem, then the exchange rate will be strong. If the exchange rate is strong, we are going to see inflation coming down. We are going to see living conditions improve. And every Ghanaian is going to feel the positive effects in their pocket. That is the whole essence of gold. But so it's not just about gold. It is about easing hardships and creating prosperity for the people of Ghana. You see, even though GoldBod is yet to commence business, you know that since we took office, we have continued the Bank of Ghana domestic gold purchase program.
You've continued it?
We've continued it. Specifically, the Gold for Reserves program and the Gold for Forex program. And as acting MD of PMMC, I've worked closely with Bank of Ghana in that area as, I can say, its main aggregator. And so today, you've heard that the exchange rate for the first quarter of this year depreciated. Okay, the cedi depreciated against the dollar by 5.3%. As I speak to you, it is 3% from 1st January to date. The cedi has been appreciating in April. Why? It is as a result of gold exports. And that is what the governor of the Bank of Ghana has said. Because we are mopping up that gold, which would have otherwise been smuggled. Now, look, Ghana for a very long time gets forex, and you know that better than me, from two main sources: borrowing.
Yeah.
Especially when we had the opportunity in 2007 to go on the capital market to borrow dollars, what we call Eurobond. So that was one major source of forex. Then, GoldBod, okay, because we have done
The syndicated loan.
because we have, you know, set up an entity just like the GoldBod to manage the cocoa sector and be the sole exporter. We are able to leverage the mandate of GoldBod to syndicate, you know, money, forex, and bring it into the country. It stays at the Bank of Ghana, supports the cedi, even before we open the cocoa season. You understand? Now we can't go on the Eurobond market to borrow again. We've been locked out of the capital market because of the reckless mismanagement of the economy by the ex-Wala Akufo-Addo.
You are still performing your old role. Let's
it's
focus
true,
on
it's
gold.
true. It's true. I'm just speaking facts. Look, then GoldBod's capacity to also syndicate money again is also gone because it has been collapsed by the NPP. So where will we get the dollars from? So government says we have cedis, we don't have dollars. So, but we have gold. Instead of allowing these Indians and Chinese and Ghanaians smuggle this gold, and then we can't get the forex. Yet gold prices have soared to record highs.
$3,300
Exactly.
per ounce.
2 days ago, it was 3,500.
It's gone that high.
You understand? And we can't take advantage of it because we've left the purchasing and export of that to private individuals.
I understand the model.
The government now says, let's get the cedis ourselves, give it to Ghanaians, no longer foreigners, and buy the gold, foreign on behalf of government. Government exports the gold and brings back the dollars within the shortest possible time so that we can get enough forex to stabilize the cedi. And if we can stabilize the Ghana cedi, everybody will be fine.
Clarify two things for me. So the buying, trading, assaying of gold is for only locals?
Only locals. Now, under the GoldBod, with the exception of taking gold, buying gold from the GoldBod, let me put it in simple terms. When we buy the gold, we have to go and sell. Okay? So who we sell to, a foreigner can be that person. A foreigner can apply to us directly that I want gold from GoldBod, and we negotiate directly. Then a foreigner can say that I want to go into fabrication, I want to go into jewelry production, I want to build a refinery. You are allowed to do that.
Refinery owned by the Egyptian, they can buy gold from
you can buy gold.
But they can't buy gold directly
but
from
you will not be allowed
miners.
under this new regime, and we've given them enough, grace period for them to transition smoothly. 1 month, it is enough. After the 30th of this month, no foreigner will be entertained in the local downstream gold trading sector. You cannot buy gold from a miner if you're a foreigner. You cannot buy gold from a trader. You will not be licensed. And if you do that under this GoldBod Act 2025, Act 1140, is a punishable offense. You can go to jail for not less than 15 years and not more than 25 years. And so they should be warned, because we will enforce this law strictly.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll link GoldBod not just to Forex, but also to controlling illegal small-scale mining, because since they are regulating the sector, the demand side of the sector, how can they deal with the Galamsey problem? And then we'll talk about other issues as well. This is The Point of View. We're live. Send us your questions and comments. Sammy Gyamfi is my guest. Don't go away.
Fire pomudi ni agubio Ghana fueni age efri say ya your local spices na ya frafra dia ya sankofa natural spice
me de go me jollof mu ni mi sti wa hodoma e ma ne dance
Stanley, the barbecue they go on.
sankofa natural spice and one you use 100% natural.
Adofo, mamunye huge mistake. Sankofa natural spices. The
FDA ejedi nkratu yatu.
Where to get polytank?
oh and you are fine
Go straight.
no I want for left right
And you that's right. Ghana na ye wono. So when you do more and ye data. Who knows? Abe na here. Me pe polytank ato. Enu tin na menu aba you to be aba na ba hejo. O food to be a e de entwa ye kura.
akuya bulambo kotoman emu ha
Like they took my eyes. Oh. Go to the distributor and you give the original polytank. You get a sound?
Polytank, Papananka Sankasa. Remember who we are singing now. At risk of prostate enlargement. We a member or her 20 ebitiminya prostate cancer. 5 bitimi afamu. Nadia ubefamu. Actually, this is not my fault. And to wada, entina midi meniche Executive Prostate Center.
Executive Prostate Center is a unique medical center where we harmonize in-depth traditional medicine with cutting-edge science and technology to cure, to treat, and to prevent diseases like prostate enlargement, prostate cancer.
Executive Prostate Center. Madame facilities no any professional medical care.
Sisi a bibia clear system ye nro ne so de e natural into we koso afa ma ye.
Executive Prostate Center. My cured.
Here's Kwame and Yao. After hours of planning, both have locked in the same perfect multi-bet. Big win for United, over 1.5. And both teams to score in the London Derby. But who could have picked Leicester over City? Or a high-scoring game at the Bridge? There's nothing worse than having your perfect multi-bet missing. But there's nothing better than having it saved. Bet saver, win, even if your bet misses.
Welcome back. We're still on A Point of View. We're talking to Sammy Gyamfi, who is pretty upbeat about the prospects of the GoldBod. He says they are doing a couple of things: forex accumulation, exchange rate stability, essentially sanitizing the gold value chain. There's a big question for you. I'm going to read it directly because it segues into the next issue. A professor, an environmentalist, says, Bernard, please ask Sammy Gyamfi to tour the country to see the devastating illegal mining, the devastation illegal mining has caused before he sits down to work. Is the GoldBod more important now than revoking LI 2462? That's question one. Question two, ask him to define responsible small-scale mining.
Okay, so should we start with question one?
Yeah, question one.
Mm-hmm.
Devastation.
For me.
He says, have you traveled to see the devastation in the country? Is that not more important to deal with the issues of devastation of illegal small-scale mining than even what you're doing with the GoldBod? Then she says, LI 2462 ought to be revoked.
Okay, so let's start from where you ended.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, LI 2462 will be revoked by the NDC Mahama government.
Okay.
Immediately Parliament resumes.
Correct.
There were legal issues as to whether or not it should be amended or it should be revoked. Because there was a school of thought that revoking it could lead to a certain vacuum.
Okay.
Okay. And that what had to be cured was the discretion or power given to the president to grant mining leases for people to mine in protected forex zones.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was another school of thought who said that, look, let's revoke the entire law. And even if we get a vacuum, we can't come up with a new LI to deal with that. But LI 2462 is poisonous. It should go in its entirety. I think those who make that argument have won, and we are a listening government. Before I came here, I spoke to my senior brother and boss, the Honorable Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Dr. Ayine, and he gave me the assurance. He says, Ame, it is ready. Immediately Parliament resumes, that LI will be revoked.
Correct.
The most important thing is that even before the revocation, government has begun the fight against the illegal mining menace, particularly mining in forest reserves. Evans, there are about 288, forests in Ghana. About 44 of them had been devastated by illegal mining. About 9 of them, of these 44 areas, 44 forests, were or used to be red zones under the NDC. You could not enter to mine because of their biodiversity significance, okay? So far, we have carried out a series of successful raids. And we have secured 7 out of the 9 forest reserves. The forest reserves which used to be red zones, which were destroyed under the NPP. We have almost secured 7 of them. And the evidence is out there. Look, the Jimra and Jimral Extension Forest Reserves, secured. Afau Hills, Tano Anria, Ofe Shelter Bed, the Subri Forest Reserve, the Anriansu East, Anriansu South Forest Reserve. All of them as I speak to you. Yes, you can. It's possible that you can find some remnants in there. By the main kingpins who were in there destroying the forest have all been booted out. In the process, over 160 people have been arrested. 125 excavators seized, 10 bulldozers seized, 7 pickups seized, and 15 motorbikes seized. And you've not heard that excavators have been stolen because party yeska. You've not heard that we bought drones to fight illegal mining and the drones cannot be accounted for. You've not heard that government appointees are engaged in illegal mining, like you had mayors, DCs, parliamentary candidates, regional ministers under the NPP brazenly engaging in mining in forest reserves. Some were actually being granted leases by the president, like Sampine, the mayor of Kumase. The Mrekudukes are all there. You've not heard even one government appointee engage in illegal mining because the president has sent a clear signal that if you do that, you are a goner and the law will take its course. You'll be held accountable. You understand? So we must admit that what happened in the last 8 years...
But you've heard of the NDC MP for our win, who was accused by his chiefs of engaging in Galamsey, and we don't know if the matter has been investigated. You've heard of that?
Well, I don't know the details, but what I know, before I came here, I spoke to the AG, and he gave me the assurance that all these issues are being investigated, and anybody found culpable will be dealt with in accordance with law. Look, what we had under the previous regime was a charade. There was no fight against illegal mining at all. Listen to me.
No
there
problem.
was no fight.
We are here. That's why
at all.
I'm sure that's why they were voted out. So
Exactly. There was no fight
here.
at all. No, but now you see a genuine fight.
You've mentioned seven out of...
Your own friend, Senyo Husi, you interview him very often. Not too long ago, he was commending the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources for his commitment to the fight against illegal mining. Your other friend at Multimedia, Erastus Asaredonko, I have screenshots of his Facebook post here where he has commended the government for several decisive actions we have taken in the fight. And Bernard, before you change my drift.
I'm still on Galamsey.
Before you change my drift. Look, this is the first time you have seen the Ghana Police Service take center stage in the fight against illegal mining. The previous IGP we had, Galamsey was a no-go area for him. Now you've seen the current IGP and the police service arresting people, seizing excavators. The army is playing this role and all that. Institutions are working. Okay. And now we are even moving beyond the laborers and those, inconsequential people who are being arrested. Very soon in the coming days.
I was going to ask you which of the big wigs had been arrested, because it was one of the major things President Mahama said that, in fact, when we met him as media for his Meet the Press, he said the small fishes were being arrested and big fishes were not getting arrested. So if you've done all of this, how many big wigs? Can you name one or two of the big wigs who have been arrested? That's number one. Let me add a second question. Number two, I'll give you two because of time. You did a press conference by a river body in 2020 February.
Yes.
Quite picturesque, showing the devastation of the river Pra. You've mentioned 7 out of 9 forests. Can you give me the same record on rivers too?
No, but you know that it takes time before you can reclaim polluted water. These are rivers which have been polluted with mercury and cyanide in the last 8 years. You don't expect a government to come within 4 years and the rivers...
4 years?
With 4 months. And then the water body suddenly becomes white.
It's because you chose the river body.
Blue as the sky.
I think that was...
4 months, you cannot fix...
No, I just saw you standing with some of the people there, so I was thinking that maybe you would give us...
Of course.
An update that happening the rivers are getting better.
You see, at least, let's acknowledge. You see, the fight against illegal mining is a process and not an event. Rome was not built in a day. It is a continuous process. What we promised was a genuine commitment to the fight. And that is what President Mahama is demonstrating. Under him, excavators seized from illegal miners can be accounted for. Under him, persons who have been arrested are being prosecuted.
Why are foreigners being deported without prosecution?
Well, that is something that I personally have had a challenge with. I'm here to be convinced by the Minister for Interior and the powers that be why they think that route is better. Sometimes there are those who argue that when you keep them here, you know how our criminal justice system is. A simple matter can drag for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And while the matter is being prosecuted, the person is on bail, and they end up even going back to where they were arrested to cause more devastation. So there are those who think that once you arrest them, you should quickly deport them, so that they
but you personally don't believe
they do not continue to
believe
that.
that.
I am not convinced by that route at all. As I speak to you, I've arrested, I've seen to the arrest by national security of persons suspected to be engaged in gold smuggling. Some of them are foreigners. And I have said that we will not deport them.
So they'll be prosecuted.
We'll get to the bottom of the matter and prosecute them. So that is being done. And aside that, look.
But we need a few names of kingpins, because I think that was very clear part of the message, that you said you've arrested 125 people. Is there any name of significance? Because don't forget, in dealing with resource issues, you follow the money.
Let me tell you something.
You can pick a miner from a mining site and parade him in a newspaper. The source of this is the money.
Look, that investigation usually takes time. if you see the excavators and you want to know the owners behind it, you want to know directors and shareholders behind companies and their complicity in the commission of a crime, some investigations must go on. Bro, we've been in office for 4 months.
Okay.
But I have good news for you. Mark my words. In the next few days, one of the biggest kingpins in Galamsey and his collaborators will be arrested. That's all I can tell you. And I'm happy that today we have a president who will not openly, brazenly defend illegal mining. Hold on. It's important that we remind them. Because you see,
I know that.
Sometimes, if you don't take stock of where you're coming from, you will not appreciate the progress you have made.
We've been on Galamsey since 20...
So you acknowledge that significant progress has been made.
The other question
and by the way, tell the professor that I travel all the time. I traveled across the country during the campaign. And even when I was appointed, I've traveled across Ghana to all mining regions, engaging small-scale miners, helping to conscientize them on the need for them to engage in legal, responsible mining and so on. And I have seen the devastation firsthand. So
is a state of emergency still on the cards?
State of emergency how?
What do you mean? You don't understand. No, you don't understand state of emergency.
Now we don't understand what.
Now you're asking people to
state of emergency to do what?
Were you not in Ghana in October, November, when everybody was shouting that the president should declare state of emergency?
And you heard Sammy Gyamfi shout that?
No, your party member supported.
I can show you.
I even have a video of your minister now, our minister.
I'm Sammy Gyamfi.
But you work with him.
So
it's the same NDC.
Hold on.
He said a state of emergency should be declared in selected areas.
Do you know why the NDC never issued a statement on that issue?
It doesn't matter.
As a corporate entity, we didn't join that call.
So and you are telling me that the NDC as a party
was against state of
emergency?
I was against it then, I'm against it now.
Even selected state of emergency in specific areas.
Hold on. Listen. I can point you to a tweet I made in opposition in September of 2024 when I said that if President Akufo-Addo, having spent over 7 years in office, could not fight illegal mining, then the state of emergency is not the solution. He cannot fight it. And that rather, Ghanaians should declare a state of emergency on the government for destroying our water bodies, our lands, and our forest reserves. So I am being consistent. The facts are there. The NDC that I speak for as a corporate body never also supported that call. You know why? Yes, you know why?
There were individuals
we
in
have
NDC.
Had something better than state of emergency before. Bernard, hold on.
Relax.
Yes, there were individuals who supported
it.
You're right.
The current minister.
Yes.
There's a video, if you want me to play it, I'll play it.
And I'm saying
where he specifically said the president should declare a state of emergency to deal with Galamsey in specific areas.
And I am saying that you are right. Individual members of the NDC supported the call. That is not the same as saying that the NDC as a corporate body supported the call or Sammy Gyamfi as a person supported the call.
So now NDC did not support the emergency.
That's number one. Number two, even for the minister and other individuals in the NDC who supported the call, I can defend them and say that the situation that pertained at the time, for which reason some of them decided to support the call for state of emergency, no longer pertains. Today, the government has a policy of not tolerating any form of mining in a protected forest zone.
And today, you haven't changed the airline. So
the airline
is the airline is what empowers. You haven't. The airline is still there. So what do you mean?
No, but if the airline is being there, and yet that law is not being enforced, as President Mahama granted any lease for anybody to go and mine in a forest reserve, and even the ones that have been granted, he says he will not respect it.
Which is why it was funny that the first action was to say the president's power to overrule the minister. He's taking that power away. You yourself have said Mahama is not interested in giving anybody the right to
exactly. So we are revoking
it. So it was moot. That whole idea.
So we are revoking it.
But that's the point.
We are revoking it.
See,
the most important thing is that
be consistent as politicians.
No, I'm being very consistent. Should I show you my
But you don't speak
tweet
for yourself alone.
No, the NDC has been very consistent.
Highly significant people in your party.
Yes, that is true.
Society.
And I'm saying that they said that
even used it in campaigning.
They said
that the whole nation is asking President Akufo-Addo to declare state of emergency, but because he's not listening.
At the time, there was no fight against illegal mining. Today, there is a fight.
That's your judgment.
That is your judgment.
The civil society is clear. Have you listened to
that? Is a judgment of Erastus Asaridonko too. That is a judgment of Senor Husi. It is not only NDC people talking. Hold on.
That's not even the point.
Let me read some messages to you, because we must appreciate that the circumstances of 2024 are not the circumstances of 2025. So you cannot say that some individual NDC members supported the call back then, so they should support the call today. No, that is not the meaning of consistency.
What we need is cogent reasons why what was good for the goose is no longer good for the gander.
And that cogent reason is that the charade you had under Akufo-Addo, where he could brazenly defend Akonta mining, which was captured on tape, engaging in the pollution of the Tano River and the destruction of the Tano Nimri Forest Reserve. You don't have that situation today. President Mahama has directed that all their leases should be revoked, and we are going after the directors. Okay. We are going after the shareholders. So the situation that pertained then, for which reason some individual members of the NDC might have supported the call for state of emergency, no longer pertains today. That's the point I'm making. Today, the police has taken center stage in the fight. We are seizing excavators and they are not flying away. We are not
having no problem.
So you must look at the significant progress we are making.
We have not denied that you are doing something on Galamsey. We reward result and not just effort.
Yes.
So is
the result is that we have secured. So today when you go to the Supreme Forest Reserve, we've secured it.
Enough. We are looking for Ghana Water to tell us stability levels are improving.
It takes time.
Yes, that's my point. So we want to see, we have not doubted the effort.
And I agree with you.
We are saying
I agree with you, but you need to give the government time. That's all I'm saying.
Fair enough. So
the water bodies will not clear up within 2, 3, 4 months.
The reason there's desperation about Galamsey is that once we see the devastation of the water body and it's not improving, we believe that more needs to be done. So you cannot start beating your chest and saying, well, the previous government didn't do anything.
Oh, I agree.
And we've done this.
On this issue.
Until we see significant change, Ghana Water tells us that now stability levels are lower. Then we believe that some of the mercury and arsenic and all these things are reducing. We cannot begin to beat our chest. Now, I think there's even one important question for you. What role does...
Can I respond to what you just said?
No,
you are emphatically right. Yes. I agree with you that the significant strides we are making in the fight against illegal mining must translate into measurable outcomes, such as low turbidity levels of our water bodies, such as reforestation of the devastated forest reserves and so on. I agree with you. But I believe that you also agree with me that that cannot be achieved in a space of 3 to 4 months.
No problem. I agree with that. Final question on that point. What role does the GoldBod have to play in cleansing the system of small-scale mining and medium-scale that is also done in an unsustainable way?
5 things, and I'll do that in 3 minutes. Number 1, by deliberately pursuing a policy of responsible sourcing and traceability. Ghana currently doesn't have a traceability system which allows you, Bernard, if you buy gold today, you cannot tell where the gold was mined and who bought the gold, where the gold was assayed before it was sold to you. You cannot tell. That is what we call traceability. And it is because we don't have that system. That is why the LBM doesn't accept our gold. You must have that traceability system. And the GoldBod is working with the World Bank to develop that system. And in the medium term, we'll roll out that system, formalize the sector, working in conjunction with the relevant state agencies, and ensure that there is traceability across the value chain. Once there is traceability, you can enforce responsible sourcing. What that means is that any gold you are bringing me, I will ask you where is the source, because there is a system to show what the source, the source of that gold. And if the source is from an illegal miner or even a licensed miner who mines illegally, because there are many licensed miners who mine illegally, or a licensed miner who mines irresponsibly, then the GoldBod can say that we won't buy that gold. You understand? So that becomes a disincentive for illegal mining. You are denying illegally mined gold of a market as a disincentive.
How are you going to trace it? What system will you use?
Well, there are many systems. One is a bag and tag technology. So right from the mine, where the gold is produced. Okay? You see, every concession granted by the Minerals Commission has its coordinates recorded on what we call the MCAS platform of the Minerals Commission. Okay. So its GPS coordinates can be found there. And it is tied to that concession. You understand? So you can have a system, this is a lot of technical stuff, you can have a system which is able to tie the gold to that concession. You understand? So there is technology. It involves blockchain technology, QR codes and all that, where once gold is produced, it is put in a box, it is sealed with a unique seal, which has a code in it. It is scanned, it goes into the cloud, and that gold is taken to, say, the district capital to be sold to a GoldBod buyer. When it gets there and it is assayed and bought, it is put in another box, it is sealed, scanned, the details go into cloud before it comes to the aggregator in Accra.
So you're saying that unsustainably sourced gold will not be bought?
Exactly. So
in Ghana, unless the person
in the medium term.
Unless the person
in the medium term, when we roll out the system, I tell you. Okay. In the medium term, you will not have a market for that. Okay. So once that traceability system is in place,
would that not influence smuggling? Just a quick, because if, for example, they know that
so you must tie it to the fight against smuggling. Okay. You understand? Okay. So if now you cannot separate legally mined gold from illegally mined gold.
But when you put the system in place, you can.
You can.
All right. So the first
and once you do that, it means that you have to tighten the borders.
So sourcing traceability is one. You said there were
That's
five.
one.
Let's go to the
Number two is supporting land reclamation and sustainable initiatives. Land reclamation, sustainable initiatives. So we have a good causes policy. If we are buying gold and we can make profit for the state from the trading of that commodity gold, then we should be interested in using a percentage of that profit to reclaim the lands that, and the water bodies that have been devastated by the activities of unscrupulous people in the sector. So if you look at our acts, the GoldBod Act, we are enjoined to support sustainable initiatives. We will do that. Then number three is to support geological investigations, which is for me the most important solution to the problem to the problem of illegal mining. Today, when you talk to small-scale miners about their biggest problem, they will tell you geological data, lack of geological data, reliable geological data. So what they do, according to them, I learned this from them when I visited, when I engaged miners in Takwa. What they do, you know what they call it? Lottery mining. Wow. Try and error mining. Mining like, excuse my language, blind people.
Which is why they can destroy a whole big place
before they get the gold, and then the cost of reclamation becomes so high, so they leave it just like that. And we all know that the Ghana Geological Survey Authority is significantly under-resourced.
So you call it geological?
Under its mandate, will be partnering with the Geological Survey Authority, providing the needed funding for us to produce accurate, reliable geological data.
So that's point number three.
That will help the allocation of concessions to small-scale miners and help them to mine in an effective and efficient way that mitigates environmental degradation. That's number three. Number four is that we will invest in capacity building for small-scale miners. Some of them have gotten concessions, but they are just digging anywhere. They don't know that there are modern ways of mining that can even optimize recovery and value for them with very little damage to the environment. And when they have damaged the environment, how to reclaim it. So the Act, the GoldBod Act 1140, enjoins us to do that, and we are going to do that. And then lastly, we are going to provide incentives to promote responsible mining.
How?
Because in our price policy, there is a dedicated margin to support what we call good causes, and part of that fund will be used to support those who produce green gold. If you are a licensed small-scale miner and you mine responsibly, and you process the ore responsibly to get your gold, without the use of chemicals, like what people like Asanska people like Typhoon and other licensed miners are doing, the GoldBod will give you a bonus for every gold you sell to us. You get a bonus in addition to it.
Green gold, that's against what gold?
Oh, so the green gold is a term of ours.
I know.
It's a
What
very
I'm saying is
popular
that shouldn't that be the standard for everybody?
It should be
Why
the
are you
standard.
rewarding somebody for doing?
So
why are you
that-
rewarding somebody for doing what is right?
No,
As in,
that is
what
not
what's
necessarily the
minimum?
standard. That is not necessarily the standard because somebody, if you have a license and you're mining legally and you still process the what they call black with mercury, you're not breaching any law per se.
Okay.
But we want to move away from processing gold with chemicals and to go to adopt modern, sustainable means of processing gold with very little
But I mean, you have only
impact
93
on the-
staff. The things you say you are doing are plenty. Sourcing, traceability.
The 93 is what we have already. That is why we are recruiting more. By the time we recruit more, we'll be more than 300.
Because this is just under Galamsey.
When you go to the GoldBod website and you go about us, you will see our organogram. You will look at the structure we are putting in place. It's a very extensive structure.
Really?
Yeah, I tell you.
We'll come back and read some comments and deal with some contemporary issues, controversies about the CJs, the petitions. People have raised legal questions about how it's gone, and we'll speak to him about that and other issues, plus your comments. Stay with us.
Hi, my name is Ochiame Kwame. I live at the plush Leisure Den Symphonic, a real estate property developed by Whaley Properties, the very developers of Vista Del Mare and the beautiful Alphabet City. So come with me to site. Let me introduce you to your new home, a gated community with 24-hour security in the heart of Sakomono. Behind me is going to be Willow Lane, where elegance will meet tranquility. You are going to be greeted with a 4-bedroom ensuite home with an elevator, swimming pool, children's playground, constant electricity, and many more. But wait, it gets even more interesting for early birds like you. You get a whopping $50,000 discount. Yes, I said $50,000 if you purchase between now and the end of this month. So call us now or visit us. Willow Lane, where elegance meets tranquility.
Life is a celebration of moments. Big and small.
The sun is scorching, I'm feeling the heat.
With Piva Drink, every moment becomes a refreshing celebration. From the beach to your home, in every corner of your world, Piva Drink adds a burst of refreshment.
Give me Piva cocktail and tangerine.
Celebrate every moment with Piva Drink. Refreshment for every occasion. Piva Drink, a taste you will love.
P for Piva.
This advert is FDA approved.
Remember who we are singing now. At risk of prostate enlargement. We remember oha. 20 ebitiminya prostate cancer. 5 bitimi afamu. Nadia ubefamu.
Actually, this is not my fault.
And to wada. Entina midi meniche Executive Prostate Center.
Executive Prostate Center is a unique medical center where we harmonize in-depth traditional medicine with cutting-edge science and technology to cure, to treat, and to prevent diseases like prostate enlargement, prostate cancer.
Executive Prostate Center. Madame home. Facilities no any professional medical care.
Sisi a bibia clear our system ni. Ye nro ne so de natural. Into we koso afa ma ye.
Executive Prostate Center. My cured.
Welcome back. We're live with the CEO acting of the GoldBod, Sammy Gyamfi, Esquire, and he's been answering questions on GoldBod and Galamsey. Let's read some of your questions to him before we delve into our final issue. Good evening. Please ask Sammy when they are going to recruit we, the NDC newly recruited teachers. Because we, the NDC foot soldiers, are hungry. We need jobs. Sammy in Adidom and Volta region. Ben, I tell Sammy that those of us in the Ashanti region are of high expectations. In this regard, NDC shouldn't let us down. This is Jeff. Hi, Ben. Tell Sammy NDC is no more communicating. NPP has taken over the country with fake news. They should try and do something about it. Yao from Accra, Yao Mensa. Watching your show live from Shama, ask the CEO when is the GoldBod recruitment process starting? Because since we have applied to... Charlie, you need to create jobs. Since we have applied, no notification yet to the applicants. Kindly ask them if the GoldBod is willing to engage profitable forex traders and digital gold trading so we could trade the forex 24/7 for the state. Interesting question.
Yeah.
Are you willing to engage? So take a note of that question. Yeah. Profitable forex traders into bracket digital gold trading so we could trade the forex 24/7.
In fact, as I speak, I need a lot of commodity traders. So if you are watching and you have
really?
A competence and experience in commodity trading, we need a lot of people in commodity trading, tokenization, and so on and so forth.
Interesting. Good evening, Bernard and Sammy. I always listen to Sammy Gyamfi on all platforms. He's very intelligent. I hope all that he says come to pass. We are behind him. I'm Peter Del Senior Akosombo. Please ask Sammy if government will only arrest and deport Chinese nationals without any trial. I think there's a problem with that policy. Bernard, ask Sammy what plans they are making to provide specialized security for the gold buyers and transporters. I am envisaging a specially trained police or military force equipped with helicopters, etc. The GoldBod website is very intuitive and informative. Well done. It's an interesting question, whether you will provide security for gold buyers and transporters.
Yes.
I don't know why. This is from Adade Kantamako.
Yes, we will.
Bernard, you are my role model. I will tell you when I have seen... Oh, why are you telling me this? I want a question. You know. Watching your show live from Shama. Okay, I've read this already. I'm Frank. As the CEO, what are the plans for the licensed small-scale miners who will be the major source of gold for the GoldBod? I don't know if it's a clear question.
Yeah.
What are his plans for the licensed small-scale miners?
Yeah, I've mentioned some of the things.
Who will be the major source of gold?
Investments in geological investigations, capacity building, and the things, traceability, responsible sourcing, equipment financing are all some of the things that...
Tell Honorable that they can advertise everything and take any people they want. But we, the NDC grassroots holding the same degree, won't talk because President Mahama assured us that he will give us the grassroots job, but it seems different. Again, ask me why the Minerals Commission does not take any amount or down payment purposely for land reclamation before giving money.
Yeah, I know there is a policy about bonds for licensed small-scale miners who are granted concessions.
So you are bonded to if you don't...
Yeah, reclamation bonds.
Interesting.
Yes, I think that is being introduced. Yes.
What is the GoldBod plans for National Association of Rock Miners, NAROM, which produces more traceable gold and also the surest way of ending the illegal mining?
Yes, we know them, but we want them to operate under the ambit of the mother body, which is the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners, and we've cooperated and collaborated with them from day one, and we will continue to do that. We've met them, they've told us what they need. Number one on the list is accurate, reliable geological data, and we are committed to doing that. Capacity building, and also equipment financing. Equipment financing means that financing the miner so that he will sell his or her gold to you at a high discount for the state to make money. You understand? That all these are models that we will be implementing.
Let me read a few final questions. Yeah. Ask my man Sammy Gyamfi, what about those who have already applied for gold business license and waiting for approval from PMMC, now GoldBod?
None of those licenses will be approved because the PMMC is being dissolved and the law that gave the PMMC the power to grant such licenses has been repealed. And therefore, they should take steps. Now that our website is active and the license application portal has been put out there, they should take advantage of that and apply for a new license if they are a Ghanaian. If you're not a Ghanaian, don't apply because you won't get it.
Ask what the plan is for diamonds. Is it also under the GoldBod?
And if, by the way, you applied for a license and you've not heard from the PMMC, we are refunding your money to you.
Which means it means that you have not
Yeah, we cannot because the law will not allow us to.
Ask what the plan is for diamonds. Is it also under GoldBod?
Yes, diamond is very. GoldBod is the sole implementer of the Kimberley process, and we are responsible for the purchase, assay, and export of raw diamonds from Ghana.
Last point I'll read before. Hello, Ben, I'm Theo. Could you get Sammy to clarify how GoldBod intends incentivizing the first level buyers to sell to the second level buyers and not directly to the self-finance conglomerates at discounted rates?
They can't. By law, if the tier 1 buyer must sell their gold to tier 2 buyers, and then the tier 2 buyers sell to aggregators, and aggregators sell to the GoldBod.
So by law, you can't. How you enforce it? You know, General Mosquito gave us the best point. A law without enforcement is just an advice.
Licensing and regulations, that is the name of the unit.
Okay.
So compliance, we have a whole directorate on compliance, and our officers will come round, because when you sell gold with the lines or buy gold with the license of the GoldBod, you must have a receipt, one uniform GoldBod receipt. So we will come, and all the time we will see that the one issuing the receipt to you is not a tier 2 buyer, which ought to be the case, but an aggregator, and you and that aggregator will be in trouble.
You have a lot of work to do,
yeah,
but you still get time to comment on running national issues. I heard you on Intim Fojo, I think a couple of weeks ago, and this week you've been talking about the CJ. Why? Is it that because, okay, by the way, are you still the National Communication Officer of
Yes,
NBC?
I am.
Do you combine the roles?
Yes, I am.
Is there no conflict?
No conflict at all. No conflict at all.
Do you intend to run again for the position?
I don't think you should even ask. The answer should be obvious.
Because this work is a very serious work.
No, I will not be able to run for that position.
But in the interim, you still comment on national issues?
Of course, I have to. It was a promise I gave His Excellency the President.
So when he sees you on air,
we can't all stop.
When he sees you on air discussing CJ, doesn't he call and say, "Hey, have you finished your work before you are talking about this?"
Not at all.
You sure?
Not at all.
Okay. Because I just wanted to clear that before I go into...
Because we have a duty to help in explaining government policy.
But that's Felix Kwachi and Shamima and Co.
But they can't do it alone. They need help.
They have ISD, plenty of people. They have, why do they need you?
They can do... We all must help.
Or is it because ISD. You like it? You like the... Because every time I ask you, go back to MPP, it's like... You can't help yourself. You always want to punch.
But don't you talk about the MPP?
But that's my work.
That's my work too.
No, your work is GoldBod.
Oh no, this is about what we are engaging is about commenting on issues of public interest.
Okay.
And that is something that we must prioritize, in my humble opinion, irrespective of where we find ourselves.
But last question on that: would you still be appearing? You know, there was an issue we have where government appointees appear regularly on morning shows as panelists. I mean, that's interesting because, I mean, that you cannot continue.
So government appointees cannot speak for the government?
No, I think they are government communicators who were working under you who can do this.
Every appointee of the government is a communicator of the government. Who should communicate for you?
But you are working.
But working includes communication.
You are doing traceability, you are doing smart.
No, you are part of a team. You are not an island. You are part of a team. So yes, I'm expected to deal with the area I've been given by the president, and also communicate the achievements, the initiatives government is rolling out in that area. But at the same time, I also have a duty to defend the government I'm a part of, and to propagate the achievements of that government, to explain the policies of that
which
government.
Position you hold in government.
Of course. In every team, there are players who are they are fixed, or even like their focus is on their positions, but there are other versatile players who can play 7, 8, 9, 10.
So do you have?
So yes,
so
I am
do you have regular?
on the job I've
do you have
been
regular
given.
appearance? Because I invited you here obviously because we have many things to talk about.
Yeah.
But if I had a show where every Tuesday you have to come, you could come.
I could. At the right time, I will. At the right time.
Really?
Now my plate is full because we are establishing a new corporation from scratch.
Okay.
You understand? You're employing workers, developing policies, setting up guidelines and regulations, putting in place systems and all that. So it's a lot of work. So I am a bit handicapped.
Let's talk about
in terms of
why have you found it
the frequency
necessary
of my appearances
to comment on the process that is going on with the CJ?
You see, it's because of, sometimes when I sit back and I watch our friends in the MPP, I get irritated by the hypocrisy and the dishonesty. And I cannot keep quiet as a Ghanaian. Look, Bernard, if our democracy will thrive and our nation will see development, then we must all be promoters of the rule of law. And we must commend those who promote the rule of law. And that is why any lover of democracy, any believer, any person who believes in the rule of law must commend His Excellency John Dramani Mahama for the action he has taken relative to the petitions seeking the removal of the Chief Justice. The President has demonstrated unwavering fidelity to his constitutional duties under Article 146. He has remained true to the Constitution. The Constitution he swore on the 7th of January 2025 to uphold. If you check the presidential oath, the president swore to defend and uphold the Constitution. And a breach of that oath is an impeachable offense under Article 69. And if you look at what the president has done so far, he's acted in strict accordance of due process and his duties under Article 146. Look, we are talking about 3 petitions seeking the removal of the Chief Justice. John Mahama is not the petitioner. Sammy Gyamfi is not the petitioner. Nobody in the NDC is a petitioner in the case. Some of the petitioners are persons who are aggrieved by alleged acts of injustice by the Chief Justice. People who say that they were wrongly jailed or imprisoned, incarcerated by the Chief Justice. And that court documents have been falsified, deleting that fact. People who are aggrieved that the Chief Justice has violated the Constitution. And bear in mind that every citizen has a duty under Article 1(2) and Article 2 to defend the Constitution. People who are aggrieved that the Chief Justice has acted against the laws of this country.
That's their claim.
Are we saying that is their claim? Are we saying that the Chief Justice is above the law? Bernard, nobody is and should be above the law.
First point.
The laws of Ghana must work. So look, these people, hold on, these people petition the president.
No, we understand what the president has done.
Are we saying that the president should not have received the petitions?
The question they were asking was, so far, the president's actions, the first question I have heard, Atachian raised this yesterday, that there's a matter before a court which will be determined in a few weeks. The process the president has initiated, he's not faulting, but he could have waited for that process to finish in court before the suspension.
What is that process about?
Somebody is challenging aspects.
Challenging what?
Aspects. I mean, you know,
challenging what?
The things in
challenging
court,
that. Even that matter is totally moot. But first of all, has the Supreme Court issued an order of injunction?
Not directly.
Prohibiting the president.
But out of courtesy, he could have waited.
No, not out of courtesy.
He could have.
No, he couldn't have done that.
Okay.
Out of courtesy, he couldn't have done that because you see, if the Supreme Court had issued an injunctive order against the president from proceeding further under Article 146, and he had failed to do so, that would have been high treason.
Okay.
No order has been given by the Supreme Court. And the fact that somebody files an action in the Supreme Court cannot prevent the president of the land from performing his constitutional duties. Bernard, it is trite. Even a first-year law student knows.
Did we have the same view when, for example, Domelo's matter was in court and yet he was sacked? Or when NDC said the EC should not proceed with the registration and the president EC went ahead to do it? Or when NDC minority went to court on e-levy and the president went ahead to sign? Did you have the same view?
Yes.
You
exactly.
think the president was okay?
Yes. Because there was no injunctive order. Our problem with the Domelevo one was the Rambo style and the tyrannical manner in which he was booted out.
So you are telling me
and
that
the lies.
You didn't have any problem with Akufo-Addo's decisions to go ahead and assist
show me
and
where I ever
sign,
argued that because a matter is pending in the Supreme Court, the president should not work. Show me one.
So now it's about you personally?
No, even the NDC. When did the NDC...
Your colleagues at the time, the minority...
When did the...
On the e-levy. When they said there's a matter pending before a court and President Akufo-Addo is signing...
So long as the court had not issued an injunctive order, the president was well within his rights.
Akufo-Addo was well within his rights.
Exactly. And that has been vindicated. So that's number one.
I hear you.
Look, the president was petitioned. You should be asking... We should be asking ourselves...
Yeah.
That in the history of Ghana, we've had so many chief justices come and go. How come that for this particular chief justice, so far there's been 6 petitions seeking a removal? Because aside the 3 which the president has acted upon, there are 2 fresh petitions. And even before this, there was one from Kwekuaza, 1 chief justice. We didn't see this.
But it could be a sign of the times. The fact that...
Sign of what times?
My brother, the fact that somebody has made an accusation against you, does that make
I'm saying that even under the MPP, you saw petitions for seeking the removal of this chief justice.
But it could mean...
Then number two, the Constitution says that when the petitions come, the president is bound to determine a prima facie case in consultation with the Council of State. The Council of State, are they made up of NDC people? Did John Mahama appoint all of them? Hold on. Did John Mahama appoint the members of the Council of State?
I haven't accused John Mahama here.
It's not about you. It's about the audience out there.
Okay.
We are talking about a 31-member Council of State made up of some of the most respected people in our society. Former judges, chiefs, and all that. 30 of them say that this matter must be proved. There's prima facie case. So all of them hate.
No, the question
I
asked you was about the decision to suspend with the pendency of a case, which you have addressed.
Okay, let me deal with the suspension.
Yes.
3 reasons why this suspension had to happen. Number 1, and I think that Gertrude Tokono, people are even crying more than they bereave. I think that the suspended Chief Justice will be very grateful to John Mahama. You know why? When the president forwarded the petitions to her, she brought her first response and later came back with a supplementary response and attached documents to the response. Now the president says, look, these petitions are seeking to remove you from office and the repercussions can be very dire for your career. I want you to have all the time and the concentration you need to focus on this matter and fight it to the best of your ability. What wrong has the president done? I think that the woman should even be thanking the president because combining her role as Chief Justice and her role in this matter would have been very difficult for her. Number 2, the Chief Justice is in charge of the administration of justice in Ghana. Can you imagine our Chief Justice who is responsible for the entire court system, the registries, the clerk, the judges and magistrates? When we need her to take important decisions for justice, to advance justice administration, she will be before this committee answering questions. Justice administration can suffer if you don't have this Chief Justice stepping aside for somebody to step in her shoes. Then number 3, the Chief Justice has been accused of certain offenses, certain allegations, which border on falsification of court documents, which therefore...
Is it even fair to go into the details
of
the
which therefore means... I will answer that question.
When the process is clearly supposed to be in camera.
It is supposed to be in camera for those who are involved in the process.
No, but you're a lawyer, bro.
Master,
it's very clear.
The Supreme Court has held in the case of Akwete that the fact that a petition under 146 or the proceedings under 146 becomes public does not invalidate it.
I want to remind you of Utaderi versus Anas. That matter came up very strongly. The lawyers took issue with that, and there were about 4 or 5 different possible ramifications of putting in public.
Has any petitioner?
No, I'm just saying.
Has any petitioner?
No, you are pointing out one. I'm also pointing to you that in the Utaderi case, it was a major issue.
Yes. The person who is liable for the violation of Article 1468, which is a breach of the confidentiality of the process under Article 146 in this matter, is none other than Gertrude Tokon.
How do you know this?
She was the first person to leak a process in this whole matter.
Where's the evidence?
When she wrote her letter to the president under Article 146, asking the president to give her copies of the petitions against her. She copied several people. You don't do that under Article 146. You don't do that.
But it was not
and she leaked the letter.
No,
and she leaked the... Hold on.
Copying is not the same as leakage. Leakage is not the same as copy. If you copy a person...
I'm going to the leakage. You copied people, so it means that you want others to know. And then, the next minute, Vicenta Sefua of the MPP was talking about the response. MPP, micro-minority in parliament, talking about the content.
But that does not prove that she leaked it.
Okay, hold on.
Because you cannot say somebody leaked something without having evidence of the leakage.
Received the 3 petitions.
Yes.
The petitions never came out. Nobody even knew who the petitioners were until the president forwarded the petitions to the Chief Justice.
So?
Immediately, the petitions got to the Chief Justice. Afenyo Markin and the MPP said they have gotten
copies.
But that's
still circumstantial.
Circumstantial.
Because somebody could have also said that the president also sent it to them.
But circumstantial evidence is evidence. I'm saying that. So President Mahama gave the petition to Afenyo Markin.
No, we don't know.
President Mahama leaked the petition to Afenyo Markin.
How do we know?
Those who said that their sources have told them that the petitions are all baseless and frivolous were members of the MPP minority.
So you are saying you believe, but you cannot say for a fact. So you cannot say for a fact. You say
that's
you believe.
My opinion. She did it.
Yeah, an opinion is not the same as a fact.
Look, today, all the responses.
We are on a public platform. No. I'm just trying to say that you've said categorically on this platform that she leaked it, and I'm saying that you don't have any evidence of that. You are saying that you can deduce. A deduction is not the same as evidence.
Have you heard the term preponderance of probabilities
before? That does not mean it's fair.
Have you heard the term preponderance of probabilities?
Bro,
in a civil matter, hold on. In the civil matter, the standard of proof is on the preponderance of probabilities. I am saying that
so this woman, it's probable that she...
First of all,
but you said categorically.
First of all, a Chief Justice who knows that every proceeding under Article 146 must be in camera writes a letter, okay, to the president seeking petitions against her under Article 146 and copies other people.
Copying is not.
And the next minute, hold on, I'm telling you something. So hold on. And then the next minute, the petitions ends up in the hands of MPP apparatchiks defending her. Then the president forwards the petitions to her.
Okay.
Then immediately the petitions, now MPP people come out and say, we now know the content of the petition.
Okay.
Not NDC people, MPP people. How can John Mahama or anybody in the NDC or in government leak petitions to the MPP who are defending the Chief Justice and attacking John Mahama? Then, today, just this morning, all the responses of the Chief Justice to those petitions have also been leaked. And who led the serialization? Gabi Ochredakon's Assassin Radio. And you are telling me that what? We cannot draw inferences? We cannot make deductions? Come on. So she herself wants to politicize the matter, in my humble opinion, and reduce it to political football. And impugn the genuine motives of the president. And some of us will not allow her to do that.
The process is still ongoing.
Nobody so far has been able to show any provision of the Constitution that President Mahama has violated.
Fair enough.
Nobody.
And we are not about...
And everybody agrees that the president's conduct is above board. He has shown fidelity to the Constitution and performed his constitutional duties diligently.
His appointees will also do same. So we will wait for the process to play out. And luckily for us, we know that the 5-member committee has been set up, and therefore we'll follow what they do to the extent that they allow us. Of course, the matter is supposed to be in camera.
And then the good thing is that the Council of States, which held that there is a prima facie case in all the 3 petitions, are not NDC executives.
Fair enough. Thank you, Sammy. I wish you well. You have a big job ahead of you. We can only wish you well. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you. But you should have read my tweets.
Which one?
On the state of emergency thing, so that people will know that I'm being consistent.
No, I didn't doubt you when you said
that.
I
made this tweet.
My question is about
on the 12th
NDC.
of September 2024.
Don't worry.
And it's very clear that I didn't support it then.
The question
very
is for
consistent.
The whole of NDC too.
But the NDC as a corporate body never supported it.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Sammy Gyamfi, Esquire, is a lawyer. You know, interesting. He's running hard of GoldBod. So we wish the GoldBod works well so that we can harvest our forex, stabilize our CD, and live happily ever after. So we genuinely want you to succeed. Thank you so much for talking to us. Sammy Gyamfi, as ever, on the show, talking a lot on GoldBod, Galamsey, and a few minutes on running stories. Maybe we'll make him a regular, maybe sometime. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Thank you, man.